Be me, 26-year-old feminist dating boyfriend for year and a half living together. I'm yoga instructor making 38K. He's graphic designer making 58K a year. Relationship is good. We moved in together 4 months ago, apartment downtown. Always been early riser. Wake up at 5 a.m. every morning without alarm, naturally. Do yoga, meditation, journaling, breakfast all before 7 a.m., productive morning routine. Feel energized and accomplished before most people even wake up starting day. He's complete opposite natural night owl, stays up until midnight working gaming. Wakes up around 8 a.m. and starts work by 9 a.m. from home office setup. Tell myself, opposites attract, but starting to bother me. We're on different schedules. We barely see each other in mornings because I'm up and he's sleeping still. I'm doing yoga in living room while he's asleep in bedroom missing everything. Eat breakfast alone at 6 a.m. while he sleeps for 2 more hours away. Feel lonely eating by myself every single morning when we live together. Mention to him that I miss spending mornings together as couple bonding time. He says he's not morning person, but we have evenings together, instead balance. Tell him mornings are most important part of day's set tone for everything. Say that successful people wake up early and he's wasting half the day. He says he's successful, working from home and getting everything done fine. Tell him, but imagine how much more he could do if started earlier. Suggest he try waking up at 5 a.m. with me, just for 1 week experiment. He looks horrified and says that's 3 hours earlier than usual schedule. Tell him it's just temporary to see if he likes it, might feel better. Say that waking early would give us time together before day starts bonding. He reluctantly agrees to try it for 1 week to make me happy. Compromise. First morning alarm goes off at 5 a.m. and he looks miserable, exhausted already. Drag himself out of bed and sit zombie-like at kitchen table, half asleep. Try to get him to do yoga with me, but he says he's too tired. He drinks coffee and stares at wall for an hour, barely conscious at all. Tell him he'll adjust. After few days, body will get used to it. Second morning, he's even more tired. Didn't fall asleep until midnight. Still, tell him he needs to go to bed earlier. If waking at 5 a.m., obviously adjust. He says he tried but couldn't fall asleep earlier. Not tired yet? Rhythm off. By 6 a.m., he's nodding off at table, clearly exhausted from lack of sleep. Tell him to do some jumping jacks or yoga to wake up, energize himself. He says he just wants to go back to sleep. Looks miserable and drained. Feel frustrated that he's not even trying to embrace the morning routine effort. Tell him mornings are magical time and he's missing out on best hours. He says, magical time is when you're actually rested, not sleep-deprived like. By end of week, he looks terrible, dark circles under eyes, pale, exhausted. Weekends and he says he can't do 5 a.m. anymore, going back to schedule. Feel disappointed and tell him he didn't give it real chance, only week. He says 1 week of 4 hours sleep per night is enough to know. Tell him he just needs to commit to going to bed earlier, problem solved. He says his work requires him to be available until 6 p.m. Clients different zones. Mentions he has calls and deadlines in. Evening can't just go to sleep. Tell him he needs to set boundaries with work and prioritize our time. He says our time is evenings and weekends, not 5 a.m. when he's exhausted. Ask him to try just waking at 5 a.m. on weekends, then compromise solution. He agrees reluctantly. Just on Saturdays and Sundays, only 2 days. First Saturday, he wakes at 5 a.m. and is miserable all day long completely. We do yoga together, but he's yawning and can barely hold poses falling. By noon, he's falling asleep on couch exhausted from early wake up. Tell him he's being dramatic. It's just waking up early, not torture. He says he's genuinely exhausted and needs nap to function properly today. Feel annoyed that he's napping during our time together, wasting days sleeping. Tell him if he lived healthier lifestyle, he wouldn't need naps at all. He says if he slept proper hours, he wouldn't need naps either, clearly. Next Saturday, same thing. He's exhausted all day, barely functional awake. Tell him this isn't working. He's not even trying to adjust or adapt. Suggest he wake at 5 a.m. on weekdays too. So body adjusts to schedule. He says absolutely not. He tried that and was exhausted for weeks straight. Tell him that's because he did it for only 1 week, not long enough. Say, it takes 21 days to form habit and he needs to commit fully. He says he's not committing to being exhausted for 3 weeks straight. No. Tell him I wake at 5 a.m. every day and I'm fine, perfectly functional. He says, because you're morning person. I'm not same biology, different people. Tell him, morning, people aren't born. They're made through discipline and routine. He says, that's not true. Some people are genetically night owls, scientifically proven. Tell him that's excuse for lazy people who don't want to change. Start waking him up at 5 a.m., even though he doesn't want to participate. Shake him awake and tell him it's time to start the day together. He groans and says he's sleeping. Leave him alone. Please let me rest. Tell him sleeping in is wasting precious morning hours missing out on life. He puts pillow over his head and tries to ignore me blocking me. Pull pillow off and open blinds to let light in. Waking him up, he's clearly angry and says this is ridiculous. Let me sleep, need rest. Tell him he'll thank me later when he's productive and energized from early start. He gets up angry and stomps around apartment, clearly furious with me behavior. Drinks coffee silently while glaring at me, obvious resentment building up. This becomes routine. I wake him at 5 a.m. every day and he's miserable. By second week, he's so exhausted he can barely function at all. Zombie. His work is suffering because he's too tired to concentrate on projects. He tells me his boss commented that his recent work seems rush sloppy. Tell him that's because he's not adjusting to schedule properly yet still. He says it's because he's operating on 5 hours of sleep every night. Tell him to go to bed at 9 p.m., then problem solve simple math. He says he has work calls until 6 p.m., then needs dinner and time, unwind. Tell him he needs better time management skills, then prioritize properly. He says he's managing fine when he's allowed to sleep until 8 a.m. Third week, and he looks terrible weight loss. Dark circles, sluggish movements, slow. His friends comment that he looks exhausted and ask if everything okay. He tells them his girlfriend makes him wake at 5 a.m. every day now. They tell him that's crazy and he should just say, no, refuse her. He says he's tried, but I keep waking him up anyway, won't stop. Notice he's falling asleep during movies at 7 p.m., can't stay awake anymore. Tell him he's not even trying to spend time with me in evenings. He says he's exhausted from waking at 5 a.m. for 3 weeks straight now. Tell him he should be adjusted by now. Body should be used to it. He says his body is shutting down, not adjusting clearly. Suffering here, fourth week he starts sleeping in his car during lunch breaks to survive. Coworker tells me they saw him passed out in parking lot. Look concerning. Confront him about sleeping in car, and he says he's desperately tired. Tell him that's embarrassing and unprofessional. Sleeping in car at work, he says, what's embarrassing is being forced to wake at 5 a.m. when night owl. Tell him he's being dramatic and weak, can't handle simple schedule change. He stares at me and says, this isn't simple. You're destroying my health. Tell him he's exaggerating. Waking up early isn't destroying anyone's health. He says lack of sleep absolutely destroys health. Well documented, scientifically proven. Tell him he's getting enough sleep if he'd just go to bed earlier. His work performance has declined so much, his boss gives him warning, formal. Tells me his boss said recent projects have been subpar and unacceptable quality. Says if doesn't improve, he might lose his job. Seriously concerned now. Tell him he needs to work harder and focus better during work hours. He says he can't focus when he's operating on chronic sleep deprivation. Tell him that's excuse he just needs better work ethic and discipline. He says his work ethic is fine when he's actually rested and functional. Ask him what's more important, job or our relationship together. Mornings, he says right now he needs job to pay rent and survive basics first. Tell him I'm trying to help him be a better person and he's ungrateful. Fifth week and he looks like he's aged 5 years and 1 month terrible. Friends barely recognize him because he's lost weight and looks sick unwell. His mom calls me asking if he's okay because he sounds terrible on phone. Tell her he's fine, just adjusting to healthier morning routine, that's all. She says he told her you're forcing him to wake at 5 a.m. every day. Tell her I'm not forcing, just encouraging him to live better lifestyle. She says he's always been night owl since childhood, natural for him. Tell her that's because he was never taught proper habits as child. She gets quiet and says, maybe you should let him sleep his own schedule. Tell her respectfully that I know what's best for our relationship. 6 weeks in and he stops resisting, just wakes at 5 a.m. like zombie. Sits at table staring at nothing for an hour completely checked out mentally. Doesn't talk to me or do yoga, just exists in catatonic state awake. Feel like I've won because he's finally waking at 5 a.m. consistently, but realize he's not actually participating in morning routine, just sitting there. Tell him he needs to engage more. Do yoga. Meditate with me. Participate. He says he's too exhausted to do anything but sit here, existing barely. Tell him that's unacceptable. He needs to make effort, not just comply. He doesn't even respond. Just stares at wall like he didn't hear. Ask him if he's even listening to me, and he slowly nods. Yes, barely. His boss calls him in for a meeting about his declining work performance, serious. Tells him if doesn't improve immediately, he'll be let go from position, fired. Comes home and tells me he might lose his job because of exhaustion. Tell him he needs to talk to boss about managing workload better then. He says workload is fine. The problem is he's chronically sleep deprived. Tell him for the millionth time, go to bed earlier. Simple solution, easy. He says he's tried and can't fall asleep at 9 p.m. Not how it works. Tell him to take melatonin or sleep medication, then make it work. He says he shouldn't need medication to accommodate my schedule preference. Tell him it's our schedule. Now we live together, need same routine. 7th week, he falls asleep at his desk during work call with client. Client complains to his boss about him falling asleep during meeting unprofessional. His boss gives him final warning. One more incident and he's fired, gone. Comes home crying, saying he's going to lose his job because of this. Tell him he's being overdramatic and needs to pull himself together now. He says he can't function on 4 to 5 hours of sleep anymore. Breaking? Tell him weak people need lots of sleep. Strong people can function on less. He looks at me with complete exhaustion and says, I'm not strong. I'm dying. Tell him he's being melodramatic again, always exaggerating everything. Drama queen. He says his doctor told him chronic sleep deprivation is serious health risk. Ask him when he went to doctor, and he says, during lunch break yesterday. Doctor told him he's showing signs of serious sleep deprivation, damage occurring. Said he needs minimum 7 to 8 hours per night to function properly. Told doctor about my 5 a.m. requirement, and doctor said that's causing the problem. Doctor advised him to sleep on his natural schedule and set boundaries with me. Feel betrayed that he went to doctor to undermine our routine behind back. Tell him doctor doesn't understand our relationship. Dynamics doesn't know us. He says doctor understands sleep science and I'm ignoring basic biology facts. Tell him I wake at 5 a.m. and I'm perfectly fine, healthy and functional. He says because you go to bed at 9 p.m. and get 8 hours naturally. 8th week and he stops coming to bed at night, completely avoiding the bedroom. Find him sleeping on couch in the morning when I wake at 5 a.m. there. Wake him up and ask why he's sleeping on couch, not in bed. He says because if he sleeps in bedroom, I'll wake him at 5 a.m. Tell him he's being ridiculous and needs to sleep in actual bed proper. He says he'd rather sleep on couch and get extra hour than bed. Feel hurt that he's avoiding sleeping near me, choosing couch over bed. Tell him this is damaging our relationship. Sleeping separately like roommates? Not. He says you're damaging relationship by forcing schedule that's killing me slowly. Tell him he's being dramatic again, using extreme language to manipulate. His performance at work gets so bad, he gets fired after falling asleep again. Comes home middle of day and tells me he lost his job. Today fired. Feel shocked and ask him how he let that happen. Irresponsible behavior. He says, let it happen. I caused it by forcing sleep deprivation for months. Tell him he's blaming me for his own poor work performance, unfair accusation. He says his work was perfect before you started waking him at 5 a.m. Tell him he needs to take accountability for his own failures, not blame. He says he's taking accountability by leaving this relationship today done. Feel panic because he's actually packing his stuff into bags right now. Ask him where he's going, and he says anywhere he can actually sleep. Tell him he's overreacting, and we can work this out. Compromise solution. He says he tried to compromise, you refused every single time, wouldn't budge. Tells me he begged me to let him sleep, and I wouldn't listen at all. Says he's lost his job, lost weight, and damaged his health because of me. Tells me his doctor said he's at risk for serious health problems from this. Says all he wanted was to sleep on his natural schedule. Simple request, basic. Ask him if sleep is more important than our relationship, really choosing that. He says sleep is basic human need, and yes, it's more important than you. Tells me any partner who destroys your health isn't worth staying with. Toxic. Packs his stuff and leaves to stay with his parents until finds place. Week after he leaves, an apartment feels empty without him, here gone. Realize I'm back to eating breakfast alone at 6 a.m. like before him. Miss having him around even though he was zombie in mornings lately. Text him, asking if we can talk about this, work it out somehow. He responds that there's nothing to talk about. He needs to recover first. Tells me he's been sleeping 10 hours per night to catch up on months lost. Says his parents are horrified by how exhausted and thin he looks appearance. Mentions his mom said I was abusive for forcing sleep deprivation on him. Feel offended that his mom called me abusive, just wanted him healthy routine. He says forcing someone to operate on 4 hours of sleep is abuse actually. Month later, see him at coffee shop and he looks completely different, transformed. He's gained back. The weight has color in his face, looks healthy again. Notice he's with group of friends laughing and looks genuinely happy, relaxed. He sees me and gives polite nod, but doesn't come over to talk. Avoids. Feel hurt that he's doing so well without me clearly thriving now alone. Realize he looks better than he did entire time we were together, healthier. Talk to mutual friend, who says he got new job and doing great there. Friend mentions he told everyone about the 5 a.m. situation, thought it was crazy. Says most people agreed that was controlling and unhealthy behavior from me. Realize everyone thinks I was in the wrong about this situation completely. 2 months later, hear he's dating someone new, already moved on from me. Mutual friend says she's night owl too, and they stay up late together. They sleep until 9 a.m. on weekends and both are happy with schedule matching. Realize she respects his natural sleep rhythm instead of forcing change like me. See photo of them looking happy and well rested, both healthy and smiling. Comments about what a cute couple they are and how good he looks now. His friends saying so glad to see you, healthy again, man back to normal. Understand that everyone noticed how terrible he looked with me during months. Realize I damaged his health over my rigid belief that my schedule was right. Lost good man because I couldn't accept that people have different sleep needs. Talk to therapist about what happened, and she asks important questions. Me? Why was it so important that he wake at 5 a.m. with you? Exactly explain. Sit there and realize it was about control and having him on my schedule. Therapist says forcing someone to operate on chronic sleep deprivation is harmful abuse. Points out that sleep is basic biological need, not preference or choice really. Understand that I valued my morning routine over his health and well-being basic. Therapist says respecting partners' different needs is fundamental to healthy relationship key. Realize I was so rigid about my way being right that I destroyed his health. Lost relationship job and nearly his health because I wouldn't compromise at all. Understand now that my 5 a.m. schedule worked for me, but was torture for him. 6 months later, see announcement he's moving in with new girlfriend already serious. Caption about finding someone who lets you be yourself and sleep peacefully finally. Realize she accepts his night owl nature instead of trying to change him completely. His family commenting about how happy he is and how healthy he looks now. Understand he's thriving with someone who respects basic needs like sleep fundamental. While I'm alone at 27 still waking at 5 a.m. but with no one to share, tried dating. But when I mention my 5 a.m. routine, men look concerned, worried. Realize most people think waking partner at 5 a.m. daily is unreasonable, controlling. Tell myself I was trying to help him live better life, healthier routine. But understand I was forcing my preferences on him regardless of his needs. Year later, and they're engaged living together happily. She respects his schedule, while I'm still alone because I can't accept that different schedules are okay. Learn that sleep is biological, need not laziness or lack of discipline. Basic. Lost good man because I prioritize my morning routine over his health completely. He's building life with woman who understands that people have different rhythms naturally, while I'm alone with my 5 a.m. routine that I valued more than relationship. Now I'm cautionary tale about forcing partner to match your schedule regardless cost. Treated basic human need for sleep as something he could just overcome wrong. Realize that respecting partner's different needs is more important than matching schedules. Lost him because I couldn't understand that my way wasn't the only right way.